The white and black energies were fighting and colliding like two oppositely charged magnets. Both the energies had turned into heavenly foxes of luck. The fox of good luck was white in color, and the one of bad luck was black. His body was connected inside and out to the environment. It was slowly getting out of control as the two heavenly foxes' tails intermingled with each other. The situation demanded strong action from San. Something had to be done immediately. As he glanced at Jing, he saw that half her hair had turned black, and the other half was white. She had also suffered the clashing of luck. If it continued for some more time, the poor little soul might die. He had to save her no matter what. After all, she called him Papa. It was his responsibility to protect her life. He needed to use the most powerful skill he had. The best fit for getting out of that situation was to use the divine consciousness. However, before he could use his divine consciousness, little Jing screamed at the top of her throat all of a sudden. Her shriek was loud enough to deafen a person standing near her. The sound waves traveled outwards in all directions. The waves were so strong that they cut off the tails of both the heavenly foxes. The clashing energies finally came to peace. San was freed of the shackles holding him back. He could move freely. He thought of rushing out without staying back for even a second, but was interrupted again as he saw Jing's radiated a golden light. She was glowing with intense brightness. After looking into the matter, he found out that Jing had created a new bloodline brand within his body. Her loud shriek was definitely something out of the world. She had incorporated a whole new bunch of powers in San's body. He was glad that the powers had not collided or clashed with any other bloodline in his body. The brand of the bloodline was rather a peculiar one. Its logo was shaded black and white, representing bad and good fortune. Perhaps it was created by the mingling of both the luck. It was shaped like a yin-yang fish. He was highly shocked and amazed at the same time to see all the changes occurring so suddenly. There was a slight element of excitement too, which compelled him to try out the new powers. Since the black one was bad luck, he thought of trying the white one first. As he brought it into action, he noticed all the cold flowers turning into warm ones. Within a split second, the entire sea of cold flowers was transformed into beautiful and charming warm flowers. Comprehending the results of the white energy, San concluded that it was the domain power. He was so thrilled that he had acquired it. Since it was such an interesting new addition to his skills, he thought of playing around with it. He tried the black part of the energy, which caused all the warm flowers to turn back into cold flowers. That was not all. He invented other ways of using power. He first activated the black power and then both the powers at the same time. The results were highly unexpected. All the flowers in his surroundings turned into black-colored ones. Next, he used white energy first, and then both of them were combined, which resulted in all the flowers turning pure white. He was having so much fun controlling the flowers of the Hell Garden. He wished to have the same powers even outside the Hell Garden. When he tried out all the features of the new power, he didn't waste any more time there. He ignited his wings and flew at a breakneck speed in the direction where he came from. After almost 2 hours of continuous flying, he saw his teammates standing at the same spot he had left them. They had been waiting for him all those hours. They were so excited to finally see him back, all fit and sound. They told him that the warm flowers at their end were shrinking at a very swift pace, and asked about the things at his end. San assured them that everything went fine at his end. He promised to tell them everything on their way back towards the exit. As they boarded back onto the boat, the music started sounding again. His friends were extremely worried about the warm zones getting smaller, but San had a solution to that problem. He calmed them down by saying that the cold flowers were no more a threat to them. He showed them a practical demonstration of what he was trying to say by turning the blue flowers surrounding them into warm flowers. All his friends were totally taken aback. They wondered what kind of power he had by which to control the colors of the flowers. He told them that he had absorbed some luck at the center of the garden. As a token, he transferred some of it to them too. After that, he finally made up his mind to reveal the big incident that had just occurred at the center. But before that, he asked them for a commitment to keep everything secret. It was a matter which was to be kept secret from the whole continent. Before he could say something, Bingji came forward and said that he shouldn't reveal the secret if he couldn't trust them with it. He, on behalf of the Shrek team, said that they all trusted San's judgment, and there wasn't any need to tell them anything if it was such a confidential matter. The secret could be revealed later. Everyone else agreed to Bingji. They acknowledged that they weren't yet ready to carry the burden of such a huge secret. When no one wanted to hear the story, San didn't bother to reveal it either. They began with the journey of return towards the exit. On their way back, they heard 2 more songs. The frequency with which the songs were played was gradually getting faster. The warm flowers had reduced to the extent that there were merely a few of them floating around in massive seas of cold flowers. However, with San's domain power, they were able to cross the cold zones without any harm. Soon they arrived at the light pillar near the exit. They had reached close to the exit at the very right time. It was just about to open. All the other participants might have gathered there too. San told his companions about the plan that the Ling Shi clan had made for them. They sent a very strong team to the Hell Garden, where the Shrek team members could exchange their cards and leave the exit. All they had to do was to reach the exit. Everything else was to be taken care of by the other team. Since that team was of monsters and demons, the Ancestral Court wouldn't dare to create hurdles on their way out of the exit. If they spotted any humans coming out of the exit, they would surely prevent them from coming outside. For that purpose, San had planned with Ziran to exchange their human identities with the demon identities of the other team. San asked Bingji to stop the boat a few meters away from the exit, and he went over to check the situation out there. He saw that the fight to escape the exit had already begun there. All the participants were fighting their way out. In those circumstances, it wouldn't be an easy task for the Shrek team to escape without aid from the Ling Shi clan's team. There was a complete mess at that spot. The fight was definitely going to be a strong one because everyone out there was at the 9th rank or above. As per San's judgment, there were over 10 people in that chaos who had achieved the Liger Sword Saint level. Under those circumstances, it wasn't wise to enter the swarm at that moment. San went back to his friends and instructed them to wait and watch the fight from a distance, as there was no use in entering it at that time. Everyone followed his instructions and sat on the carpet of warm flowers, which San had transformed by his domain of power. They all meditated there and polished their cultivation instead of wasting their time and attention on the battle going on near the exit. All of a sudden, their peaceful meditation was disturbed by a huge explosion that occurred at the exit. It banged so loudly, and its shockwaves could be felt hundreds of meters away from the actual site. The massive explosion blew away everyone's mind. San could sense its power being comparable to divinity. The matter of concern was that there was no divine-level powerhouse in the Hell Garden. How could such an enormous and horrific explosion take place without apparent powerhouse? Surprisingly, the sound of the hustle and bustle taking place near the exit had vanished along with the explosion. Could it be that the exit had opened? Taking a closer look, San found out that the exit had actually opened. The battle was over. It was finally the time to leave the Hell Garden. The explosion alone had reduced the number of contestants at the exit to half. It was better that the Shrek team had not indulged themselves in that exit fight. San ordered his team to rush towards the white light coming out of the exit to meet the demon team in time. As they reached there, San was bewildered to find out that the demon team wasn't there. He searched for them a lot but couldn't find them. Could it be that they died in the explosion too? Well, if that was the case, then Ziran's plan had completely failed. They had to make their way out on their own. It was pretty obvious that the Ancestral Court members would create problems for them, but San was confident because of the 3 tokens he had brought with him. Those tokens would make a way out for him. He didn't let the failure of Plan A become a hurdle on his way out. He made a Plan B immediately. To execute it, he ordered his friends to smear blood all over their bodies to pretend as if they were injured in the blast too. Meanwhile, Ziran, who was waiting outside the exit for San and his team, had turned pale because his plan had been leaked. The team whom he had bribed to save the Shrek team was besieged by the other contestants. They were defeated and sentenced to death. But before they were killed, they blew themselves up and killed a lot more contestants along with themselves. The explosion was actually the result of their face saving. Ziran was extremely worried about the well-being of the Shrek team. He prayed for their safe return. If anything bad happened to them, he would be screwed because the superiors had attached great importance to their cooperation. He was encountered by Fei Bian outside the exit. He was the president of the Tiantong Chamber of Commerce. The Ling Shi Chamber was a sworn enemy of the Tiantong Chamber. Fei must definitely have visited to laugh at Ziran. Well, the reality wasn't far from the assumptions. Fei had actually shown up for condoling with Ziran. The team he had bet a lot of money on had blown up. Fei was very happy seeing his miserable state, but couldn't directly laugh at him as it would spark their enmity even more. Fate showed mercy to Ziran at that moment, as he was saved from Fei jeering at him. He didn't have to reply to his lame questions because he saw San and his team coming out from the exit. He was so relieved as San called out to him. He rushed towards San and hugged him tightly. The Shrek team had scared the hell out of him. He didn't want to listen to any explanations at that moment. He straight away called them to board the carriage. The talking could be done later. While they were entering the carriage, Fei was staring at the Shrek team and Ziran's obsession with them. He didn't understand why Ziran was so mad about them. After all, they were just humans. What was so enthusiastic about humans? He was desperate to find out the reality behind that VIP human team. Inside the carriage, San and Ziran had a deep discussion about what happened inside the Hell Garden. San told him that the team he had chosen to replace their identities had been killed in self-defense, which led to the failure of his plan. The good thing was that they had returned safely. No high-ranked officer had noticed them. Everything went fine by chance. One lesson that they learned from that incident was that the Shrek team should never participate in any battles under their current title. That title was known by many commoners. It could pose difficulties for them in the future, just like they had been left helpless in the Hell Garden. Their discussion took so long that the carriage had already reached the Lingxi Chamber of Commerce. Ziran held a small meeting with San about the matters of array disc business. San took advantage of the golden opportunity to seek the blood essence of high-level monsters from the Lingxi clan under the name of Master Lu. As the meeting ended, Ziran sent the Shrek team back to their hotel under his custody and promised to cover their hotel expenses too. When they reached the hotel, everyone went to their rooms without wasting any time because they were way too tired to do anything else. They rested after escaping a huge battle. Everyone went to their rooms alone, but San had a little guest with him. He had been hiding Jing with him all the way since the Hell Garden. She was fast asleep when they came to their room. San had kept her so close to his heart that she could easily sense his divine consciousness. If she had not been asleep, she would have found out about it long ago. He couldn't keep her with himself for long in that state. He needed to take her back to the Crystal Great Demon Emperor, as she was his entrustment. Anyhow, as he relaxed a little, he thought of trying the effect of the new two-colored bloodline energy outside the Hell Garden. He couldn't believe the results. He was astonished to see that his luck power had become so strong all of a sudden. Golden rays were radiating from all over his body. His luck had turned golden. The power of the bipolar domain was extremely high in strength. Since the power of good luck was so intense, he wondered how strong the bad luck might be. To figure it out, he tried using the black domain. All of a sudden, everything had turned black and gray around him. Luckily, he didn't use it for a long time because its adversity could increase proportionally. After trying both the domains outside the Hell Garden, he deduced a conclusion that the trip wasn't in vain. He had received a huge benefit from it. He didn't stop cultivating after testing the new powers. He continued to examine the new additions to his powers and luck. Just like that, the most tiring night had ended, and the next day had dawned. First thing in the morning, Ziran came to visit San. He wanted to obtain the array disc which Master Lu had made for them. The Ancestral Court's auction was to commence soon. Ziran wanted the Lingxi Chamber of Commerce to display the array disc in the auction, as it would gain much attention there. He had visited San early in the morning in the hope of obtaining authorization to sell the bloodline array discs. Though Master Lu made low-level ones, they would still turn out very famous as they were a new discovery. Since San and Jang were doing a drama of the array discs, San couldn't allow Ziran the authorization. He excused him by saying that Master Lu wanted to make a first-leveled bloodline array disc before officially displaying it. He wasn't in support of selling low-level things. For that purpose, achieving fame in the auction wasn't in their hands, but was in the Lingxi Chamber's hands. If they provided them with the necessary ingredients and money timely, the research process could be sped up. However, if they showed any kind of delay in delivering the necessities, it would take a long time for Master Lu to officially display the array disc. Ziran was put into deep thought by San's demand. He was afraid of his master that he wouldn't allow him to donate such precious blood. He tried negotiating with him by offering instruments and materials to form a second-level bloodline essence. He was ready to give him the blood of the time crocodile, which was a second-level bloodline. Since the idea wasn't bad, San thought of locking the deal with it. However, he warned Ziran that if the quality of any of the products was substandard, then the quality and quantity of the bloodline essence wouldn't be guaranteed. Ziran promised to fulfill all his demands. He said that he would apply for the required alms right away and visit him again within a few days with good news regarding the disc array. It appeared that Ziran was actually a man of his word. It didn't take him long to return to Sun with good news. He visited 2 to 3 days later, and this time he had an exquisite icebox in his hand. He had invoked the highest authority of the Lingxi Chamber of Commerce to get the necessities for the bloodline disc array. As he opened the shining box, San was glad to see that he had finally brought the blood essences. There were 15 drops of the time crocodile's blood essence. All of them were at the peak of the 9th rank. Ziran had brought the most precious belongings of the chamber. If Master Lu failed the project, it would be a great loss to the Lingxi clan. San said that he couldn't guarantee Lu's success, but assured him that they would return him items of equal worth if they failed. Ziran calmed down a little as he gained trust in San and Master Lu. After giving San his entrustment, he left. Now it was San, and 15 blood drops were with him. He felt very pleasant and surprised to see the most precious thing in front of his eyes. The mastermind behind the whole idea of obtaining the drops was San. He simply used Master Jang for his plan. Those 15 drops could prove to be immensely beneficial to all of them. Taking the example of Guli, he could go through to the divine level. Nevertheless, as San had finally got what he needed, he was obliged to return the favor to Ziran. He immediately called Jang to buy the materials needed to make the array disc. After getting all the materials, he kick-started the process of making the disc inside his room, along with Jang's help. Leaving the story of San and his bloodline array disc behind, the camera zoomed into the life of Xia May back in Carry City. She had finally moved out of seclusion after quite a few months. As she came out of her room, she had the majestic heaven's secret plume in her hand. With her hard work and determination, she had succeeded in bringing back its lost glory. It was shining as bright as ever in her hands. Outside her room, a man was awaiting her. Perhaps he was the former Peacock Great Demon Emperor. His expectations of May had grown even further after seeing her talent and skills. He perceived her as the future Great Demon Emperor of their Peacock clan. She didn't have any high hopes with herself, but the Emperor trusted her with their clan's future. She was the only one amongst the youngsters of the Peacock clan who could bring it back to glory. Though she was merely at the 8th rank of cultivation, she was gradually getting into recognition as Heaven's secret plume, putting her in a higher position than the biggest powerhouses of the clan. The Emperor instructed her to practice and polish her skills for another 15 days and break through to the 9th level, after which she would be subjected to a test. Upon passing that test, she would receive complete recognition by the Heaven's secret plume. In the meantime, he registered her as the new lord of the Carry City. The master asked her to meet her mother in her free time, as she had paid several visits to meet her daughter during the seclusion. May had been missing her mother a lot during her seclusion period. Not only her mother, but she had also been missing San. She wondered how he might be doing. She had no idea where he was and what he was up to.